Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and Financial Juneteenth, and I wanted to take a second to share a thought with you. As you know, I like to just share thoughts. You know, when things come to my mind, I'm a teacher at heart, and I believe that knowledge is not meant to be stored and kept and hidden behind the ivory tower. I believe it's meant to be shared with the people and to be pushed and duplicated as far and wide as possible. That's why I'm always talking. That's why I'm always sharing what's on my mind. Because believe me, I went to school a long time, so I got a whole bunch of deep stuff down in the crevices of this brain of mine, and I'm not gonna live forever. So I want this to be here for people that are looking for an answer, looking for something different, and you don't have to pay $20,000 a year or $40,000 a year to go to Syracuse University in order to hear it. That's where I talk. Now, here's what I wanted to share with you is this, and this is something I've always known this, but it was kind of interesting in terms of figuring out a way to actually verbalize what I'm thinking on this. Here's the thing. A lot of times, those of us, me and you, I'm talking to you because you're watching this for a reason, because you are on the same page with me on a lot of issues. That's why you're here. People like us, sometimes we get frustrated, right? Because we look around us and we see that, just being real, ignorance is winning. You know, ignorance is far more prevalent than intellectual discourse. You see people caught up in backwards thinking, and that's far more prevalent than people who are thinking progressively. This is to some extent like almost like the dark ages of the black community a little bit. Definitely the dark ages of hip hop. Hip hop is not meant to be what it is right now. You know, smoke something, drink something, kill somebody. You know, whatever. That's not what hip hop is. Hip hop's going through a phase. I think people are waking up to what's really happening here. And this happened all throughout history. Europe was in the Dark Ages for about 1,500 years. Europe was in chaos for 1,500 years. So if you compare 15 years, which I think is the Dark Ages of hip hop. I was talking to a rapper about this yesterday. If you consider the last 15, 20 years, you compare it to 1,500 years, you have to understand that a brighter day is almost always coming, but there have to be people that plant the seed so that the brighter day can arrive. You know, just like in Europe when they were going through the dark ages and medieval times where people were behaving like savages and killing each other and engaging in ignorance and getting drunk and just acting a fool, there had to be visionaries. There had to be people who said, despite what's all around me, I believe in something better that can happen in the future if I plant that seed. We are seed planters. We get that horrible burden, right? Now, here's what I realized too. Every Negro is not going to come with you. You know, we get frustrated because we see so many people that look at us and hear what we're saying. They're like, man, you're being too serious, or you'll never get reparations, or that'll never work, or black people can't build their own businesses, or, you know, you can't get around the white man's system and its control over you. And it's unfortunate because people don't realize that you really can't. It's kind of hard to fight white supremacy when you're feeding it at the same time. It's hard to fight systematic racism when you are pledging allegiance to it every single day. But that's what a lot of us do. We are so unaware of how these systems work that we end up succumbing to the system and trying to defeat the system at the same time. That's like saying I'm gonna get out of my house by staying inside the bedroom. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. So what I thought about was this, and this is something to help you through the dark days, to give you encouragement as you go out and you fight the battle against ignorance, because we really are at war for the souls and the minds of our children. Here's what I thought about. Think about it like this. We shouldn't get angry that everybody isn't going with us, because everybody's not ready. Every black person cannot be enough of a visionary or enough of a leader or enough of an independent thinker to truly get everything that we're saying. And that's natural. When there were people from Europe who went to go try to live in America, to discover this new land, which already had a lot of Native Americans on it, by the way, so they didn't discover America. That's nonsense. But when they wanted to go to this new faraway land and try to survive and be, risk starving to death and all that, everybody wasn't going with them. Not every person in Europe was like, yeah, give me a ticket to that boat. It was a small number of visionaries willing to take the risk to go over to this place they'd never been, to seek out a better life, to blaze a trail for other people. Same thing with the Mormons. Brigham Young took a clique of people who believed in the vision of what Salt Lake City could become, and they went out there where there was nothing except Native Americans, and which again that's another conversation. But they went out to this place. They didn't really know anybody. They didn't have any way to survive, but they found a way to make a way. They started They started building buildings, planting potatoes, started cooperative economics. Now, a few decades later, the Mormon community in Salt Lake City is worth probably tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. Okay, so that's what we are. We are explorers in this new millennium. We are the settlers in a new land. We are the first people to settle Mars. We're trying to go to another planet. We are the people, you and I, we are the people who are thinking about the power of black cooperative economics and our ability to build new black Wall Streets. We are the people who understand the value of us educating our children and not leaving them beholden to a system that will never teach them their true history. We are the first to create a vision of empowerment and a village in which our people can prosper as opposed to struggle, suffer, die, remain beholden, remain enslaved. Understand this. Every Negro ain't ready for that. Every black person is not going to get the vision. Most black people, many of us, not most, but a lot, are not ready for the risk. A lot of people are not ready for the risk of entrepreneurship. They're not even ready for the risk of investment. You don't have to be an entrepreneur in order to have a business of your own. If you can't be an entrepreneur, I believe everybody should at least invest in an entrepreneur. You can form a clique of 6 people and let one person run the company, and everybody chip in $3,000, and that person has $18,000 of capital to begin the business with. You can do that. But we'll talk about that later on Financial Juneteenth University, because that's actually something we're building to really help foster some of these ideas. Not everybody's ready for the work necessary to build something new. You look at the first explorers, the first men and women that will go to Mars. Most people are not signing up for that trip. I know I'm not signing up for the trip. I don't want to live in the discomfort of Mars. I don't want to live with the uncertainty. I don't want to risk being in an environment where I could die any second. But if they go there and they build something, and they take the risk and make the sacrifice and create and plant the seeds, then maybe 50 years from now, I may want to go. Or if I don't want to go, maybe my grandchildren will want to go. I'm sure they will at some point if they build something that is glorious enough and respectable enough that it attracts other people. So that's what we're doing. That's our job. Our job is to leave the plantation, go into this unknown territory, this dangerous territory of black economic independence, black educational independence. Go deal with the uncertainty and the discomfort of building things on your own as opposed to relying on what somebody else built in order to get what you need. And if we build something that is powerful enough, that is glorious enough, that provides enough opportunity, then that's when the rest of the black community will follow. They may not follow in this generation. It may be their children who follow. It may be their grandchildren who follow. But that's what we're doing. We've got to think in a multi-generational context. We've got to stop thinking about the next 5 or 10 years and start thinking about the next 150 years. Think about the next 250 years. We may think that time does not exist, but guess what? The world, human beings have been around for at least 100,000 years, really longer. I don't know the exact process of evolution. I know the first human skeletons were found, actually, I want to say they're about 3 million years old, but I don't know if it was fully formed humans or something different. I have no idea. But the fact is, we've been around for a long time. And so this little time period in which we live, this little 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 year period that we're on this earth is a snap in time. But we have an opportunity to plant a seed today such that in 2 or 3 generations from now, those seeds will blossom into things that we can't even envision. There are people who did things in 1822 who would be floored to find out what those things have become in the year 2015. We need to be those people. We need to plant those seeds. So that's all I just wanted to share with you, to encourage you. When you go out into this abyss of darkness, sometimes you got to be a little crazy like me. Crazy people see things that aren't there. Crazy people make things up when the reality does not fit what they want it to be. Well, I say let's be a little bit crazy. Let's see some things that aren't there. Let's have a vision. Let's make some things up, because we can shape the world into what we want it to be. We just have to be determined enough to do it. That's all I want to say to you. And also, I want to remind you, we have a new film coming out called Resurrecting Black Wall Street, which is all about the Black Wall Street atrocity in 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but it also flips that into a conversation about how we can take the ideas of cooperative economics and build our own Black Wall Streets in our communities in the 21st century. That is what I do. I have a PhD in finance, and so I know a little bit about money, and I'm also bringing in scores of entrepreneurs and other people to really share the knowledge so that we can get away from the idea of hating your job and getting up every day, going to work, and being mad because every time you go to work, somebody's telling you what to do or somebody else is controlling your life because we haven't figured out the keys to economic freedom. Well, I don't know about you, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna let somebody control me for the rest of my life. I'm not gonna allow that to happen. So if you want to support the film, which I hope you will, the website is resurrectingblackwallstreet.com. That's resurrectingblackwallstreet.com. You can at least check out the trailer. Tell me what you think. It's our first film project. I'm not a filmmaker yet. I'm trying to get better, but I'm going to try. I'm going to go out there and just throw my line in the water, and if we catch a fish, if something works, we're going to be okay. Because I'll tell you the honest to God truth, it's a little bit scary for me too sometimes, because sometimes I step out on pure faith and try new things and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this wrong. I'm going to totally screw this up. But the thing that kind of keeps me going is realizing that just one old saying, for example, that you never discover new lands if you are always afraid to leave the shore. So never, ever, ever, and I said this to my daughter the other day, she's 25, I said, never, ever, ever let fear keep you from pursuing your destiny. Never let fear make you a captive to a reality that you're not comfortable with. Never let fear stop you from trying to do the things that you know that you want to do to make your life better. So I say it like this: feel the fear, but do it anyway. That's all I want to say. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Once again, the website is resurrectingblackwallstreet.com. I hope you will go check it out. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. I am gone. Peace.